Good morning and welcome all to the webinar. We thank you for making the time to attend the session. Our topic for today is accurate insights for business transformation with big data on the cloud with AWS and Umbrella InfoCare. You can post your questions in the questions box throughout the session and we would address the same post the presentation. We thank you once again for making the time. Our speaker for today is Nikhil Mathur, Partner Lead Data Analytics and AI ML at Amazon Web Services. You can once again request you to post your questions in the questions box and we would address your queries post the presentation. Over to you, Nikhil.
Hey, thank you so much for that introduction. I welcome you all to this webinar today. And during the next 10 to 15 minutes, I'll be walking you through what we're seeing in the data and analytics market in India. All right, so data has really gone from being something that was cumbersome and expensive to store to becoming the lifeblood of many companies' business model. Over the last 5 to 7 years, a couple of key trends have been emerging, which have really got us to this point. The first one being with the growing number of connected devices, apps, and systems, data is getting generated like never before. The second trend we are seeing in the market is that with cloud coming into picture, the cost of storing data has really come down. So customers no longer have to think about what data to store and what not to for analysis. Just to put things in perspective, the cost of storing a terabyte of data on Amazon S3 is just $23 per month, and which is where cloud becomes a very compelling option for companies to store data and analyze it. So that's the second trend we're seeing. The third global trend we're seeing is with, again, cloud taking mainstream. We're seeing that there are a variety of purpose-built tools for customers to use, and they only pay for the analysis they do and the compute power they consume. So really lowering down the cost of doing analytics, and which is where even in India, where India as a country, you'll be aware it's undergoing a mobile and data revolution with 1.2 billion connected devices, average data usage of 8.3 GB per user per month. India has in the last 5 to 7 years traversed from being a sparsely connected to a hyper-connected digital economy. It's the second largest ISV market in the world, the third largest startup market in the world, with more than 19,000 startups. And increasingly, the amount of data which is getting generated is being leveraged by companies to get insights and make sure that they can make better decisions to increase the top line revenue growth for their organization, maybe consolidate their bottom line and enhance customer experiences like never before. If you look at the slide here, Forbes also talks about how data is really fueling the AI and digital transformation for organizations. And post-COVID, we are now seeing more and more companies now really wanting to transform themselves digitally, and analytics and AI ML have a big role to play there. Gartner states that 63% of CEOs are likely to make a change to the business model over the next 2 years and perform analytics prior to, during, and after changes of this magnitude is really crucial. We're seeing the Indian market, which was probably a $3 billion market for analytics in 2019, is likely to become a $6 billion by 2025. And globally also, as you can see in the slide, there's a huge market for big data and analytics, which is a mainstream technology area for companies now. Also, what we're seeing is for a lot of businesses, one of the top priorities which is emerging is business intelligence and data analytics to generate new revenue streams, to automate a lot of manual processes, to do prediction, forecasting, and which is where the kind of analytics users and the personas have really become much more than what they were earlier. And really, if you look at what customers are looking at, they're obviously looking at getting more value out of their data. They want to make sure that they can capture, store, and analyze data generated by today's modern and digital businesses. And what's unique about this data is coming from diverse sources. This data is not just coming from your transactional systems, maybe your ERP or transactions, transaction processing systems, could be CRMs or some of the applications you've developed, but even unstructured data sources. Now, increasingly, we are seeing companies leveraging social feeds, Twitter feeds to kind of analyze customer trends. We're seeing companies now really leveraging data analytics to kind of not just look at the structured and unstructured data, but also IoT data, sensor data, which is coming and that's being analyzed, and really which is where there's a need to store this data in one particular repository, and then it needs to be analyzed by many applications. And I'll just talk to you about how increasingly companies are doing the same. We have a variety of analytics users in the organization now, and the persona has really changed. This is business decision making. Analytics is not just restricted to IT organization, to CXOs. We are seeing data scientists, data operations people, data modelers, data warehouse administrators, VP, director analytics, all of them really wanting to do analytics and derive insights for their organization. And which is where what we're seeing is there are a lot of common analytics use cases which are emerging. And again, these use cases also vary from industry. And then again, some of the common ones which we see across industries are data warehouse modernization, with analytics really being one of the priority areas. Now we're seeing customers wanting to retire their technical debt. They're wanting to move from legacy data warehousing environments, could be Teradata, NetEase on-premise, and moving to the AWS cloud or the cloud environment to get better performance, scalability, lower down the total cost of ownership. And that's one important use case we're seeing, where for data warehousing and even on-premise Hadoop implementations, customers are looking at moving them to the cloud. The second use case we see, and again, as customers are trying to solve real business problems, data lakes is something which is emerging as a theme, where a lot of customers obviously want to consolidate data from diverse sources, create a data lake, and then use some of the purpose-built tools, analytical tools on top to generate insights. Surely real-time streaming and analytics, I mentioned about how real-time streaming data, IoT data, that is being leveraged, let's say in manufacturing for predictive and preventive maintenance, how we're looking at log analytics, how we're looking at capturing social media data, and similarly operational data and search analytics. That's again something which this is a common use case we're seeing. And lastly, customers also want to do ad hoc reporting and do self-service business analytics, which is where there are these variety of needs of organizations which are being fulfilled by leveraging analytics. If we have to look at the Indian market, we have a number of users across enterprises, different industry verticals, startups who are leveraging AWS, big data and analytics technologies. to really generate new revenue models and streams. And I could talk about some of the referenceable use cases we have. One of them is Jubilant Foodworks, who obviously wanted to, so Domino's, they had this problem statement stating, can we really cut down the time of delivery of pizzas from 30 minutes to 20 minutes? They generally take pride in saying, look, if we can deliver pizzas to you in 30 minutes, great, otherwise you can return it. So they built a data lake on top of AWS to really get real-time insights into their operations. And which is where not only are they able to cut down on the redundant processes, inefficient processes, but they're also now able to do order forecasting, to cross-sell, upsell better, and they've created machine learning models on top of that data lake environment to do prediction and do some of and come up with some of these interesting use cases. One of the use cases we implemented together with Umbrella was in Vistara, and as you can imagine, all the airlines are kind of they have a huge operational costs which they are incurring, and one of the problem statements was, can we really cut down those costs for them? And which is where together we really sat with their board of directors and really helped carve out a route profitability analysis solution, which is to say which airline should fly and from what sector to what sector and at what time, right? So really helping Vistara increase their top line revenue and then cut down on their operational costs. Similarly, there are dime a dozen other cases for big data analytics, and we'll be happy to share more details with you in subsequently. Also, something which is really gaining mainstream, which has become mainstream, and it's really gone from being an aspirational technology is machine learning, right? And if you really look at some of the systems which are available today on the cloud, you could train a large image classification system in 88 seconds. Well, there are predictions by IDC that by 2021, 75% of commercial enterprise applications will use artificial intelligence. And again, digital transformation, a journey which every enterprise wants to embark upon, again, will be supported by AI. And with the kind of data growth which is expected, AI ML has an applicability across industry segments, be it healthcare, retail, for again, manufacturing, oil and gas, and then there are these common use cases across translation, document workflow optimization, forecasting, prediction, robotics, and again, the technology is no longer limited to just a few big tech companies or hardcore academic researchers, but really now one of the missions which AWS has is to democratize AI, make sure each and every developer and data scientist out there is empowered to leverage ML to really derive insights and help from an organizational growth standpoint. We have a few customers who are leveraging ML, and some of the names you see, Freshworks. This is again a customer who's using 30,000 ML models, and they've deployed it using SageMaker, which helped cut down their training time from 33 minutes from 27 hours. And in fact, it also helped them improve their ticket resolution time by 47%. Freshworks, I'm sure a lot of you would be knowing, it's a $1.5 billion market cap Indian SaaS startup, which is into help desk management and chat solutions. And similarly, Redbus, which is online ticketing service, they were able to leverage SageMaker to generate a lot of new dynamic tags for user feedback, and the fact that the feedback could be analyzed better. They were also able to improve their conversion rate, and more customers really using Redbus to kind of book the bus from a travel experience standpoint. We're also committed at AWS in India to kind of help the government and the NGOs. We've been working with Bachpan Bachao Andolan to match online information against missing reports of abandoned children. And again, we're also trying to see how we can leverage some of the AWS technologies to teach AI and robotics skills to students in India. Our mission here in India is to make sure that we can enable all the builders and businesses to really build a better India for all of us. I would like to leave you with this thought, and this is something which our CEO Andy Jassy says. Invention requires two things: the ability to try a lot of experiments and not having to live with the collateral damage of failure. And which is where with cloud data analytics and ML, you could try a lot of experiments to re-engineer business models, to increase your revenue streams, to cut down on the operational cost, and the fact that you're paying for as you are using, the cost of storage is less, so the failure is also less. And if the collateral damage is low, and you could try out a lot of experiments, that's how companies have innovated their way through. And absolutely, we would at AWS encourage you to kind of also leverage AWS technologies, data analytics, ML to really drive meaningful insights for an organization. Thank you so much. With that, I'll hand it over to Nishant to further take over this session. Thank you so much.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much, Nikhil, for such a insightful presentation and sharing a couple of very interesting use cases with everyone today. Hi once again, very good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nishant, and I represent Umbrella InfoCare. And we have our guest speaker, Ms. Aparna Sharma, also with us, which I'll be introducing. I'll be inviting her also during this presentation. Okay, so before we start talking about the agenda and the topic, I would like to talk a little bit about Umbrella as an organization, and introduce with all of you. So Umbrella started our operations in 2013, and this is an organization which, when it started operations, did the first partnership with AWS Cloud. And back in 2013, cloud was not very popular, and we were focused for cloud implementation for enterprise customer, which was even a lesser popular segment, I would say. And this looks like a very a risky proposition, but believe you me, after 7 years of this journey, I can say that this was one of the best decision we have taken as an organization. And today we are a premier consulting partner with AWS, which is the highest tier in the consulting space with AWS in the partnership. At the same time, we are a migration competency partner, as well as managed service competency partner and DevOps competency partner, other than being the certified well-architected review partner with AWS. Today, we have seen a growth of almost 100%, I can say, year on year, not only in terms of our revenue, but also in the number of people in the team. Today we have more than 140 plus strong technical team, which has worked on more than 250 customer projects. I can safely say that more than 350 cloud-based deployment in various space of migration, big data, application development, DevOps, etc. So okay, I'll talk a little bit on the services offering, what we do. So when we started in 2013, we primarily started with the cloud migration, and gradually it took steam. I would say from 2015-16, when AWS started their BOM region here in India. So we were helping a lot of customers in migrating their workloads to AWS cloud, and helping them deploy their new applications on cloud. then we realized that migration to cloud is not the end of the journey, but rather it is the beginning of the journey, where customers have to manage their workload on cloud. And that's where we started our managed services, where we provide 24/7 operational support for our customers, and help their manage and run their operations on cloud for various type of applications and workloads. The another service which is very common to all other services also is the DevOps and automation. Though it is mentioned here as an independent service, but I can safely say that this is primarily a part of all our services, whether it is migration, managed services, or big data analytics or cloud native application. We do a lot of automation in our implementation and processes to take the real advantage of cloud. Once we have seen that the customers who have migrated to cloud, they were really taking the advantage of agility and the scalability of the cloud, but the applications were really not cloud native. And that's where we started working with our customers and helping them in transforming their monolithic or legacy application to cloud native architecture, and helping them implement the cloud-based data analytics, where they can leverage the services which are available on cloud. And those can be quickly, I would say, as Nikhil also said, that once we are on cloud, we have an opportunity to experiment fast. So that's where we started helping our customer in big data analytics space, whether it is building data lake for them, or defining the data warehouse, or reporting and dashboard kind of use cases. Now today, because the focus of our presentation is on big data and analytics, so I will talk a little bit more on big data analytics offering. So primarily we divided into three broad categories, where we say that we have this data engineering, analytics on cloud, and the managed services of big data. In nutshell, if I say that we help you build your data lake and data strategies, we help you build the data warehouse by doing the data modeling, understanding your use cases, and implementing this for the real objectives, and also then help you run the operations, which is more of the data DevOps and the managed services part, where not only the data governance, the other two very important aspect is the automation, what we can introduce in the data operation, and at the same time doing the continuous optimization, whether it is the performance optimization or the cost optimization. So we work with a lot of customers where we have helped them deploy the data lake, and then over a period of time we are helping them optimize their cost and performance also. Okay, so here is a snapshot of our customers with whom we have worked in last 6-7 years. I will not touch upon on the individual customers, but we can see that there is a variety in terms of verticals and the domains the team has experience. We have worked with retail and logistics, healthcare and life sciences, media, entertainment, manufacturing, financial services, digital, and we we were, I would say, lucky to work with a lot of other software companies who are providing SaaS, and who are independent software vendors, and help them migrate their product, their application to cloud, and add value there. Okay, now with this introduction, I would like to move on to the topic. So today we are going to talk about this case study, the data lake implementation, what we have done for My Money Mantra. And we have with us our esteemed guest, Ms. Aparna Sharma with us, who is Director of Product and Marketing and leads all the digital initiatives at My Money Mantra. Hi, Aparna.
Hi, Nishant. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you
Hi,
for this.
How are you doing? Very good afternoon.
Good, excellent, and really wonderful to be here and to talk about the journey.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for taking out from your busy schedule and joining us today here and sharing your insightful information. So Aparna, before we start, I would really appreciate if you can give a brief introduction about My Money Mantra as an organization, what kind of customers and partners you deal with, and what are your key services.
Absolutely, absolutely, Nishant, and that's a great place to start. So, in fact, before I start, I should tell you it's a great day to talk about My Money Mantra, because My Money Mantra is a 3-decade-old organization founded by Mr. Raj Khosla in 1989. And why is it special today? Because it is his birthday today, and hence I'm really
Oh, that's
proud and
fantastic. Yeah, please
yeah.
convey our good wishes to him.
Absolutely, Nishant. So it's a great day to talk about MMM and the remarkable journey that we have had over the last 30 plus years. So Mr. Khosla started this organization in 1989, where we started with Citibank as our first partner. We are into retail distribution of financial services, and we were pioneers. We've been pioneers in this field. To give perspective to everybody, we started distribution of home loans when ICICI Bank, HDFC Bank were not in this market. So that gives a good perspective of our journey and how diverse it has been. So in 1989, we started with Citi and then Stancy. Today, we are proud to have 100 partners and very strong relationships with banks, NBFCs, insurance companies. Our product suite includes the entire spectrum, starting from credit cards, unsecured loans to salaried as well as self-employed businessmen, moves forward to mortgage, home loans, loans against property, and of course, insurance. There are certain new product lines as well that we have added, which include fixed deposits and savings accounts. In our entire journey of 30 plus years, we've always been very customer centric, and that continues to be our motto. And about 4 years back, in fact, Nishant, I also remember the date. It was 26th January weekend, where we were out on our company offsite, and we had decided, we all took a call that we should leverage all our expertise, all our product knowledge, and try and foray into the digital environment, capture the digital market as well, leverage our physical strengths to the customers who are wanting to have online journeys. So with the motto being very firmly, phygital, we like to call this digital plus physical, phygital. Our motto was very clear, our vision was very clear, that we wanted to be phygital, but we wanted to leverage and set up our digital journey as well. Within that, of course, we have created our online marketplace, which goes by the same name, mymoneymantra.com. We have our CRM, and it's been fantastic last 4 years, because it has consolidated our position in the market and further strengthens our leadership, gets us ready for the future.
Okay, great. And I really like the term phygital, you have coined, you have introduced. This is fantastic. So I know you've touched upon, the digital piece, but if you can really, elaborate more on the thought process and, some of the key initiatives you have taken in this digital transformation phase, and how this has really, benefited into business.
Right, Nishant. So like I was mentioning that we are, leaders in distribution physically. So if you take an example of an individual customer who's wanting a home loan, for example. So physically, he would like to meet the representative, understand all options that are available in front of him, all the banks that are available, what is the best interest rate available to the customer, what is the right product. There could be an overdraft, or there could be a straight term loan. And while we say retail business is easy to understand, but it's highly complex to run successfully, and hence all of this wanted to be projected digitally. So we thought that some of the key key initiatives or the key pillars of this transformation was our marketplace. So the online marketplace that we have, our website, we call it the platform because it is linked with banks digitally via API. So today we have more than 59 actually API integrations with our banking partners, where customers, applications, information, and documentation can flow via APIs to banks digitally as well. Another important thing was resourcing around the digital, our people in the digital marketing and analytics team. We've really strengthened over the last 2 years. And of course, the pillar, the foundation on which all of these aspects can sit comfortably is our rich database and the legacy that we have in terms of our the customers that we've served throughout these years.
Okay, great. And okay, how is this helping in the business also, if I may say?
Right. So, like I said earlier, just a little while back, that it has really helped us consolidate our position in the market, as the banks have been, evolving as well in the last 10 to 15 years. They have been moving slowly, steadily. Some banks, and accelerated by fintechs, they've been doing these digital transformations on the customer journeys that are available on offer for customers. So it has really helped us because we are their premier partner. We are their go-to partner when it comes to loans acquisition, cards acquisition. We continue to be so as their models and as their journeys transform into being more straight through and more digital compared to earlier. So we continue to have higher market share, and like the slide can tell you that we also have, we've always traditionally been skewed towards larger ticket size categories. So mortgage and home loans, as well as high ticket personal loans, have been our core strength.
Right, and I can see, with these numbers, you being the market leader. So, in today's time, as we can see, all the industries are impacted by this pandemic, COVID-19, and I'm sure this must have impacted the financial industry and My Money Mantra as an organization also. So, if you can share your experience and also share how this digital transformation, what you have already taken the initiative, has really helped or is helping in sailing through these tough times.
Yes, Nishant. So there is so much to be said about COVID impact that the time is less. But very interestingly, in our space, if you just look at financial services, the space that I represent, it was so when you read advertisements or you read these marketing billboards, they would always say the availability of straight through loans and contactless loans and digital loans. But if it was so, when 24th, 25th March, when the impact happened, where there was no contact available, there wouldn't have been so much disruption in our industry as we saw. So we saw a lot of breakages because of the reduction of access and the lockdowns, etc. But it was great. Fingers crossed, and I'm touching wood right now. You can't see my video, but it was great that we had embarked on this data lake and data warehouse project, and we were already, trying to partner the future. And so we can say it's providence, and we must say it's divine intervention in hindsight, but we can also say it was very accurate planning. That in March we had gone live with you, and the entire data warehouse was available to our 60 plus locations, 2,000 plus employees. And within a week's time, I can say certain teams went back to business in 24 hours. But within a week's time, under Mr. Khosla's guidance, we were back to our customers. We were back with our banking partners, who took longer to come back to market because they were facing very varied SOPs around the lockdown. Another big change, of course, that happened is that COVID has impacted our banking partners and their journeys with eKYC, video KYC, all of those initiatives being accelerated. It's great that our teams are available, equipped with all the data securely wherever they are. In fact, in March and April, Nishant, we launched a project called Project Anywhere. While traditionally we've been, very space oriented. So there'll be an office, and you have to be, sitting there and only then you're able to contact customers. But today, with the data being available on our CRM everywhere and the insights being available, we have the
Yep.
Project Anywhere doing very well as well.
Fantastic.
So it's
Now that you talk.
Is the market, yeah.
Yeah, great to hear that, Aparna. And you talk a lot about data, and I can see the emphasis in your description on the data. So would you really I'll appreciate if you can share. So we all understand the importance of data, but how it is really relevant in your industry. What are the complexities and the variety of the data you have to deal in your industry, and how it is important for your sales and marketing initiatives?
Yes, Nishant, and I continue to emphasize on data. And like Nikhil mentioned that, what organizations do with data is extremely critical to build their story of the future. And similarly, data is our backbone. Mining of data, profiling of it, modeling, building models on it is extremely critical to any acquisition business, any distribution business. So ours is a core distribution and acquisition business, and hence data and continuous supply of the right kind of data to our workforce becomes absolutely critical. And hence, our partnership with you has been extremely valuable, because I'd take a minute to give perspective again to so many of us. Like I mentioned, ours is a 30-year-old organization, so you can imagine that data is lying in different departments under
Sure.
different structures, right? It could vary from different product lines to different banks. Banking formats are very inflexible and they don't change, and you have to change. So you can imagine, for so many years, data was sitting across various departments: sales, marketing, accounts, audit, etc. And all of this, to be able to come together into a data lake, was extremely important for our for fructification of our future plans. So like I said,
And how, yeah,
yes.
and how you really see the kind of advantages you see after the implementation of data lake in this kind of scenario?
Yes, so that's again, this time is limited to be talking about advantages, because I'm a business owner, and the way I
Yeah.
see it, the journey ahead is extremely exciting. So what has happened is that, in fact, when you and me first met, this was our first conversation about how multiple files are available for
Right.
us to, catalog and try and decipher and put it into a structure. The data was, of course,
I'll just add one thing. Sorry to interrupt you, Aparna, you may continue, but I will just, because you talked about the, different type of files. So when we started the assessment, there were approximately what 10,000 different type of files actually.
That's right.
They were all kind of carrying the same data, but there were 10,000 different structures, I would say, what we had encountered when we first assessed your data.
Absolutely. And, it was a great time. I mean, how dedicated the team was at Umbrella as well, Nishant. I remember how you and Anand were all with us, and, looking forward to trying to come to a resolution of that. And so, coming together of a single repository for My Money Mantra is a huge positive. It's a huge benefit for all our business owners, for all our vertical heads. Of course, it gives us, needless to say, it gives us foundation for analytics. But before that, there is so much time that used to be spent, so many people who were working on data mining and data retrieval, and all of that has been automated. So there's immense benefit that the business is now extracting. Foundation for analytics for sure, and I'll touch upon that in my next conversation. Of course, all our sales and marketing campaigns have been automated, because the marketing team's dependencies, the sales team's dependencies on mining by a particular team has gone away. And the CIS application that you've helped us build gives a window to the business users to quickly extract data.
You see that data lake is not only helping you in your management of data, but it is actually adding real value to the business? If you can, throw more light on that.
Absolutely. So, like I said, that the data being data from different departments coming together, sitting in the same structured format for all verticals to be able to use. So now I'll give you one simple example. Data from the credit cards team was never flowing to the insurance teams before
Right.
March. It was very
Right.
difficult. While it could happen in pockets, it could happen basis human interaction. But now all of that is automated, it's platform oriented. Different departments are seeing the benefit of it. Insurance, which was never, part of our business, has been the biggest user of data in the last 3 months. And insurance, in fact, post COVID has also, the search and the volumes have even gone up before that. So again, I would say divine intervention for timing. So it has been a great timing for, a vertical which we hadn't planned that would be the biggest business user, but that has come up as a use case. Of course, all our business dashboards and reporting to, Mr. Khosla and Mr. Rahul Soota have become standardized, and we're going to be working more with you on business intelligence. Our business, in fact, like now, this brings me to the analytics that I was talking about. I thought I'll explain a little bit for perspective of everyone. So in our
Please.
business, a successful outcome is defined when a customer actually gets a loan. We are saying we're not saying, okay, advertising, come compare, come apply. We want to say whatever is your requirement, we're going to meet it. Until the time the requirement is not met, we as a business don't define it as success. So a successful outcome is our core, driver of business, and analytics can now be built on it. So now what we've been doing is that we have a rule engine, which which is now sitting on the lake. And once the so personal loans rule engine is going live now, and after the sitting on the data warehouse, and once a few weeks of outcome testing, we'll be ready for applying advanced analytics on that, training models, and starting that journey where the MMM engine can be driven by analytics.
Right.
And
Right.
hence really scalable to the to the next level.
Great to hear that, Aparna. Really fantastic. One last thing, I will really want to ask that, how important you think that cloud's role was there in your data lake journey, and how it has really helped you.
So Nishant, I'll wear my business hat again, and I would answer that question. One of the most important benefits I see is being able to create solid infrastructure without an obnoxious capex. Pardon my using the word obnoxious, but the ability to build warehouse and the ability to build so much on cloud is available without having to with monthly billing, and it being available as a service. And especially for a company like ours, which is in its growth stage to the next level, it's extremely important, and I see that as a big benefit. Hand in hand with that is our ability to scale up. Like you're aware, we've recently last year been funded as well. So we're a funded organization, and we're taking our goals to the next level and scaling up. And I think this is going to be extremely important, this solid foundation on cloud. Of course, security, confidentiality of data is very important. Transaction data is very valuable. All the reverse MISs that you're very, you're very well aware of, all of those are secure. Confidential data, confidentiality becomes even stronger. And these are some of the benefits that I see as we go along. And that's the reason why we took this path to be able to use and scale up.
Yeah, thank you. That's really insightful information and the journey experience what you have shared with us, Aparna, today. Thank you so much for joining us and sparing time and sharing your journey experience with you. Okay, so Yeah, thank you once again. So what I'll do, we still have 10 odd minutes. So I will walk the audience through a very high level of the solution approach and the architecture, what has been implemented as the data lake, and the campaign planner side for My Money Mantra. So okay, fine. So okay, so just to give the perspective to the audience that so there are multiple sources which we had to deal with when we started this project at My Money Mantra, where we had to implement this data lake. And data lake was just, I would say, a term and the solution, but the basic objective was to make the data available for the marketing initiatives, for the marketing campaigns, and for a lot of other use cases that My Money Mantra as an organization wanted to run on the data. But the challenge was that data was available in different repositories, different data sources, I would say, and in some cases even those data sources were just simple flat files like CSV or the Excel files. So we first did the assessment, understood all the data sources, bring some standardization, and then we identified that, okay, all the RDBMS based data sources, the data ingestion will be, done through Scoop. We ingested data into S3, and where we had direct, CSV and Excel file, the data has been, uploaded in S3 directly. And on top of that, we did the transformation of the data, and the key part in the transformation was the deduplication, and we used Spark based jobs, those written in PySpark, running on EMR, and then the transformed data is uploaded into Redshift, which is the data warehouse in this case. And then so there are two level of transformation, I would say. One is the transformation where we are kind of consolidating and merging data coming from various sources and putting it, let's say, in one mart as the customer data or the transactions data and other type of data. And then there are use case specific transformation that have been done to address these specific use cases. As we can see here, we have those dashboards visualization as well as the campaign planner. Some of the key services of AWS cloud that have been used, I would say, are AWS Amazon S3, which is the simple storage service, EC2 instances, EMR for transformation jobs, Redshift for warehousing. Athena has been leveraged for a lot of ad hoc analysis, and this has been implemented to give access to the data science team and the developer, so that they can do the pattern identification and run their ad hoc queries which they want to really run on the data. So I'll take a little bit more time on individual component. So there are 3-4 components which we have. The data lake, as I said, that there are multiple sources. So in this phase implementation, we have implemented 5 main sources, where we have RDBMS like Oracle, and then data sources from CSV and Excel. Scoop and Spark has been used for data ingestion and transformation. Also AWS S3 has been used as the data lake, and there has been multiple layer. I would say that there are raw bucket where the data has been stored the way it is being ingested into the data lake, and then the data is being cleansed and verified, deduped and transformed and stored in another bucket, and then this data is loaded into the Redshift. Another important aspect what we have done, and as Aparna had also mentioned, that security of data was one of the critical aspect of this implementation. So that was another advantage of implementing this on cloud. We kind of leveraged the native functionalities and the feature available with AWS S3 for the data encryption at rest, using AWS KMS for the key management. And we also used AWS IAM users and the role-based access control has been implemented for various buckets and folders, and the access has been given to different teams depending upon their role in the organization and their data needs. The another important aspect of this entire solution was the transformation and the data warehouse. So I already talked about the transformation, but here I would like to really emphasize on the dedupe and the customer identification, because the data is coming from various sources and there is a high probability that one customer's data is lying in multiple sources, because as Aparna also explained that there is a credit card team, there is a personal loan team, and even within personal loan, because the operations are pan India, within the same city also there are multiple teams. So there is a possibility that different teams are maintaining a data set, and those different data sets may have the data of the same customers. So that was one of the pain area which we kind of addressed by implementing a dedupe with a, I would say, a complex algorithm where we define certain rules and we pass through all the data which is getting ingested through those rule algorithm, and identified the if the data is already available in the data lake, and attached the newly arrived data with the existingly available data, and that's how we enriched the data, and at the same time maintain the version history, so that even if you have a customer's data and the customer is lying in your system, let's say for last 5 years, 10 years, but you are all only interested in the latest information about that customer, whether it is the contact information or other demographic information of the customer. So latest version of the information is always available, and at the same time the previous versions are also maintained for other information and analytic and reporting purposes. And then once we have this deduped and enriched customer data, we did the transformation for the marketing use case, and this is the additional layer which sits in the data warehouse, and the front end applications, the consumer of the data, are actually consuming this layer of the data. So apart from the standard dashboard visualization, which is I would say pretty standard implementation for any similar kind of the project, the another unique thing what we have done was the development of this custom application which is sitting on top of the data warehouse, the campaign data planner. The key objective, I would say, of this campaign data planner is to provide a user-friendly web-based query interface, because the main utilization of this data is to run the marketing campaign, and there are multiple teams, maybe more than 30, 40, 50 teams who are, or maybe more, who are actually consuming that data. And now because the data has been consolidated and made central, now they have to get the data from this central repository and use it for their marketing campaign. So definitely these teams are non-technical teams, and they wanted an interface from where they can run certain queries, and those queries can be created using some user-friendly interfaces. So we developed this application and allowed the non-technical users to select specific data points which they really want to extract from this data warehouse, and also allowed them to define their filter criterias on multiple dimensions, whether it is about the demographic or it is about the additional services or the facilities the customer is already having. And at the same time, all these campaigns are workflow based. So one person, so it's basically a maker checker kind of workflow where the campaign manager has created the campaign, and then his supervisor has approved the campaign. So all the campaigns are well defined and managed in a way by the central teams. So there is a clear visibility for the campaigns which are running in the organization. Earlier those teams were running these campaigns independently in a way. And at the same time, we realize that majority of users will be non-technical, but at the same time, some of the users will be semi-technical or maybe advanced, technical, who would really want to go deep in the data warehouse and would like to write complex queries that may not be possible through certain predefined superset of fields and structure. So we have provided the option to write custom queries, and those custom queries can generate the data to run the campaigns. Another very interesting feature of this I would really like to emphasize and highlight is, see what happens many a times, and that's where the ROI is dependent, that if you are connecting with the customer and there are multiple teams and all teams are connecting maybe to the same customer, there is a high probability that you are actually wasting a lot of resources of organization, and a lot of redundancy is happening. But with this tool and the data being available at a centralization, what we are doing, that we are allowing users to filter the data based upon the past campaigns that have already been run. That means a campaign that is run in last 3 months, if your query is capturing that record, that you can filter this out. So that way you can reduce the number of records, and you can reduce the number of times you are connecting with a customer to optimize the performance of these campaigns. And the output of all these campaigns are fed back into the data lake to again enrich the data lake and improve this filtering and optimization of these campaigns. With this, I would like to share a data lake landscape for My Money Mantra. As you can see from the left hand side towards right hand side, the data is moving left to right in many ways and getting refined with each step. So in the current implementation, we have implemented structured and some bit of unstructured data, I would say, through batch ingestion methods. Now there is this landscape, and the foundation of analytics, as Aparna has mentioned, is available for a lot of new use cases which were not possible earlier. So My Money Mantra has plans to do real-time data ingestion from their web and mobile platforms and other applications, and go for additional use cases for machine learning, some predictive analysis, and some process improvement and transformation for different type of internal users, I would say, from business users and data scientists and the internal development team who are actually leveraging this data lake for their business objectives. So with this, I believe we are done with the time, and this was my last slide. I will be really happy if there are any questions, and would like to really answer those questions. So how much time we have now?
So we are on the hour.
Yeah, fine. So if we're running out of time, maybe we can take questions, and we can contact offline to answer questions. Okay, I see. Okay, yep. Okay, so I think we can wrap up. Yeah, okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, you can contact us.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Nikhil. Thank you, Nishant.
Thanks, Nikhil. Thanks, Aparna. Thank you so much once again, and thanks everyone for joining here today. Thank you.
Thank you.